and today we will be talking about hydraulic fracturing, or what we call today fracking. So, fracking is the process of extracting. Sorry. Fracking is the process of extracting natural gas from shale rock layers deep within the earth. And this picture can help you imagine what fracking is. So let's take a look back at fracking timeline. In 1860, liquid first used to stimulate shallow, hard rock wells in Pennsylvania, New York, Kentucky, and West Virginia. In 1930, initial attempts to inject a non-explosive fluid into the ground to stimulate a well. In 1947, it was the birth of fracking. Hydraulic fracturing of wells introduced by Standard Oil. 1,000 gallons of naphthenic acid and palm oil thickened gasoline was injected, followed by a gel breaker to stimulate a gas producing limestone form at 2,400 feet. In 1949, Halliburton becomes the first company to use hydraulic fracturing to extract natural gas at industrial magnitude. In 1974, Congress passes the Safe Drinking Water Act to protect underground sources of drinking water. In 1976, the Department of Energy launches the Eastern Gas Shales Project. It was a joint research project among the states to research the unconventional natural gas resources. In 1986, the Department of Energy sponsors the drilling of 2,000-foot horizontal well in the Devonian Shales of Wayne County in West Virginia. In 1999, the present-day form of hydraulic fracturing is deployed in the Brennett Shale in Texas. In June 2004, EPA report says that fracking fluids are toxic and that some portion of those toxic fluids remain in the ground after a frack job. In 2005, fracking boomed after the Energy Policy Act in 2005 exempted it from the compliance with the Safe Drinking Water Act. In June 2009, U.S. House of Representatives introduces the Fracking Responsibility and Awareness of Chemicals Act to repeal fracking's exemption from the SDWA. In February 2010, the House Committee of Energy and Commerce launches an investigation into the potential environmental and health impacts of fracking. In November 2011, the EPA issues a plan to study the potential impacts of hydraulic fracturing on drinking water resources. Where we stand today, fracking rules are still set by individual states. So now, let's see how fracking works. Usually, fracking process has some major steps. It begins with drilling vertically deep into what is called a shale layer. Then, by drilling horizontally. After that, a mix of high pressure of water and sand and chemicals is injected to the well to crack the surrounding shale. Finally, through those man-made fissures seeps the natural gas for extraction to the surface. And by this phase, the fracking job is almost done. And now Elike will talk more about the advantages of fracking.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Alekia. Actually, I just want to talk about the advantages of fracking. Fracking is also known as hydraulic fracturing. Um, the three advantages of fracking are hydraulic fracturing is providing abundant energy and building local economics, and enormous potential through fracking, and the promise clean, affordable natural fuel. Coming to hydraulic fracturing is providing abundant energy and building local economics. In this, it makes possible to produce natural gas in place where the conventional technologies are ineffective. Hydraulic fracturing is also boosted local economics by generating royalty payments to the property owners, and providing tax revenues to the government and creating much needed high paying American jobs. Um, and Even fracking for a shale gas has become big business, transforming the US energy landscape. In a year, the new gas production can be expected to exceed more than $100 billion. And Coming to an enormous potential through fracking, the US Energy Information Agency reports that over 750 trillion cubic feet of technically recoverable shale gas and 24 billion barrels of technically recoverable shale oil resources currently exist in discovered shale plays. And uh, to complete a well, to for the fracturing, it takes around a few months for single well, and that well can be for the production, it takes around 20 to 40 years. Coming to the promise, the clean affordable natural fuel, having abundant cleaning burning domestic reliable supplies of natural gas promises more affordable energy and more stable prices. Clean burning shale natural gas is critical to American manufacturing jobs, such as like for the farmers, for fertilizers, to farmers for fertilizers, to households for heating and cooking, and to society to help address climate change concerns because of its low carbon content. And this figure shows the lifespan of the hydraulic fracturing. Um, it takes 50 to 100 days for drilling and well construction of a well, and it takes hydraulic fracturing about 2 to 5 days, uh, and the energy production it takes to 20 to 40 years. The rest will continue with Mark.
Hi everyone, I just want to discuss the disadvantages of fracking. Some of the disadvantages are water waste, air pollution, lack of regulation, and poor long term economic benefits. Water waste. With this process of fracking, a lot of chemicals are injected into the underground to shatter the rock, and this is in actually some of the metals were said to be inside inside the ground even after the fracking job is done. So naturally, it causes the side effects to the grasslands. And this process carries significant environmental risk. Air pollution caused by natural gas drilling is a growing risk, but there is not enough statistics on how much the effect will be in long term. In Texas, previously there used to be 58,000 wells of natural gas, but now it has been increased to 93,000 natural gas wells. Uh, and researchers proved that due to this enormous increase in natural gas wells, they found 25% asthma in the state of Texas in children, and 7% asthma in the adults, and poor long-term economic benefits. Though there are many projections funded by the natural gas industry, and they claim the economic and financial benefits, there are some costs that are not being considered in this long-term economic benefits. So if I also consider these costs, then in real it would be very less long-term economic benefits. Studies have shown that fracking do also cause small earthquakes, which can damage homes. Though these earthquakes are relatively small, experts are researchers are expecting that they may be big in future. Fracking also uses a tremendous amount of water that contains chemicals and other environmentally damaging materials. And this is a graph showing it actually takes typically it takes 1 to 8 million gallons of water to complete each fracturing job, and in 2013 it is estimated about 250 billion cubic meters of natural gas will be brought to surface by fracking in the US. Next part will be and this fracking in US will be continued by Sneha.
Hello everyone. Major oil fracking in USA. Major oil gas firm to list fracking chemicals. North Dakota struggling to deal with radioactive fracking waste. Ohio investigation connects earthquakes to fracking. Family awarded $3 million in first US fracking trial. Major oil gas firm to list fracking chemicals. Pittsburgh, AP, a major supplier to the oil and gas industry says it will begin disclosing 100% of chemicals used in the hydraulic fracturing fluid. The move by Baker Hughes of Houston is a shift for a major firm. It's unclear if others will follow suit. The oil and gas industry has said the fracking chemicals are disclosed at tens of thousands of wells. But environmental and health groups and government regulators says a loophole that allows companies to hide chemical trade secrets has been a major problem. This really good news. It's a step in the right direction, said Dr. Bernard Goldstein, the former dean of University of Pittsburgh Graduate School of Public Health. Since the company said it will provide complete list of products and chemicals, ingredients used in frac fluids were accepted by customers and relevant government authorities. Many companies voluntarily disclose the contents of their fracking fluids through a website partially funded by the oil and gas industry that tracks fracking operations nationwide. But Crisis says the website has loose reporting standards and allows companies to avoid disclosing by declaring certain chemicals and as a trade secrets. North Dakota struggling to deal with radioactive fracking waste. Last month, North Dakota Health Department announced that a large pile of oil filter socks, it's a radioactive nets that are used to strain liquid during the oil production process. It has been found at an old gas station in Nonan, a small town in northwest region of a state. The unfortunate discovery was second event in the just few days in early March as another pile of oil soaks. It was found at flatbed trailers near a landfill outside another small town in northwest Dakota, where the majority of the state oil shale information is located. The state passed a law last week requiring the shale oil industry to use leak-proof containers to hold used oil soaks at shale sites. The law goes into effect on June 1st. North Dakota already requires that filter be transported with licensed waste haulers to proper waste facilities. Ohio investigation connects earthquakes to fracking. Ohio geologists have linked more earthquakes in a rock information. The finding has caused the state to offer new permit rules for some areas targeted for oil and gas development. The state investigated 5 small earthquakes that occurred last month near Youngstown, finding the hydraulic fracturing or fracking. It's a process of injecting water and sand into the Altisa shale put pressure on a small fault line. Though it is said some quakes in the area had been linked to deep injection wells that are used to dispose of the massive amount of toxic wastewater fracking process demands.
Would you please join me in thanking them for this presentation? And any questions? Any questions? I have a question regarding the earthquakes. Anybody has found anything about earthquakes related to the high pressure, the high disturbance to the
As of now, only minor earthquakes are measured, but in future, researchers are expecting the major earthquakes. They might be major.
Well, I mean, we hear about many earthquakes in the United States, particularly
Yeah.
recently. Um, could it be related to that?
No,
or
that is not related to fracking.
How can they say it is not related? I mean, you pressure all this pressure down there, and you say no. Is there any proof that it's not? No, there is proof it is.
If any earthquake is due to fracking, then as of now, they are only just minor earthquakes that only affect small homes and everything.
Small homes
Yeah.
in the area. Okay. Now, we have heard about sinkholes. Have you heard about sinkholes? Now, people are in their homes and all of a sudden a sinkhole happens, big hole, and people go down. Is there any relation between disturbing the strata of the soil and sinkholes?
No.
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 So, it's amazing that you do all this and the earth is just swallowing everything. Any other questions? Yes.
I've researched a little bit into fracking as well, and I just wondered, there's a lot of pros and cons to fracking, and I just wondered from each one of you, in the sense that after you now researched it, are you for or against it? Do you think that the benefits outweigh the effects of it, and why? I guess for each one of you.
I guess it's good to support this fracking, but if it's good to support fracking up to any extent, but not beyond the boundaries. And for example, now we are just seeing minor earthquakes and everything, but if all those become major earthquakes and spoil the environment, like you see in Texas, due to this oil wells, only 25% of children are getting affected by asthma. So in those cases, we can just exclude them.
Well, for me, I'm against fracking because it has some potentials to affect and contaminate fresh water, and I think we need water more than gas, so I would just say no fracking.
No fracking or no fracking in certain areas, just no fracking altogether, even if it was an area that didn't contain the water?
If we do fracking in some areas, it will go
I agree.
for bigger sites.
Yeah, I'm against fracking because it also affects the soil and only in some places the fracking is okay because it doesn't harm the places surrounding the particular place. We have to select a particular place for the fracking. In that way, I'm against the fracking.
What about how much water they use? Do you think that should be one of the major issues, or just that it's contaminating the water? Like they have to truck in lots and lots of water to be able to do it just one time.
Yes, actually, fracking uses a lot of water, but about 60 to 70% of the water is returned to the surface to be cleaned from contaminants, and in most cases they are used in another fracking job. Are you against or for fracking?
I'm also against for fracking.
I'm sorry?
I'm against fracking.
Any reasons for being against fracking other than the other reasons that
In some places it will be spreading, so I just. In some places it will be spreading, so that I just.
Now, are you satisfied with the answer?
I didn't hear what she said, that it's spreading.
She is against fracking because it is
In some places it's spreading the
spreading
yeah
Spreading what?
oil.
pollution.
Yeah.
Spreading pollution. I want to ask about how do they collect the oil itself? I mean, is it after fracking and all this activity down there? How many feet underground? How do they collect it and get it up? What? Collected where?
Actually, when they crack the surrounded shells,
Yes.
they make like a path for the gas to escape to the
To escape.
surface.
So it
Yes.
oozes to the surface, goes up.
Yes.
Just in the no tubes or anything. It just oozes up.
Yes.
And they collect it.
Yes.
That's amazing. Okay. Any other questions? Fracking. Okay. Would you please join me in thanking them again?